Okay, stop me if you've heard this before. An international prospect is refusing to work out for the Atlanta Hawks, and it appears there might be some gamesmanship going on here. The Hawks have wanted Alex Sarr to be a legitimate option for them to go first overall. He has not worked out. He has not come to Atlanta. He is refusing to work out for the Hawks, presumably because him and his camp are trying to push him elsewhere. The one I'm alluding to, this happened with Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic ended up in Dallas on a draft night trade, partially because Luka Doncic would not work out for Atlanta, which caused Atlanta to want Trae Young over Luka. The connection here, Luka Doncic's agent is Alex Sarr's agent. So this is going back to the old well. This is a trick we've seen before from this agency. Your thoughts, Cart? Should Alex Sarr be working out for Atlanta, first of all?
Yes. What? Yes, there's no reason to avoid him, to avoid being the number one pick. Because you know what happens if you avoid being the number one pick?
You don't get taken number one.
You don't get taken number one. You don't get number one pick money, and you're sending yourselves to the Wizards. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here, bro? Like, if you're like, say what you want about the Hawks, like the Hawks have like been in playing contention. The Hawks have played playoff basketball. The Hawks have Trae Young. They're probably not gonna have DeJounte Murray, but they have something on that team. You're really, really that adamant on going to play with Denny Avdija and Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole? Like, what are we really doing here? I don't understand what the issue is here, especially given the hype of Alex Sarr. He could go in there and pull a Darko, pull a Khalil Ware, go do a couple drop steps against a chair and probably secure your number one pick, your number one pick money. It's bizarre to me why he would avoid this. And now the Luka thing might have been a little different. Like it might have been like I don't want to go to that team thing. I don't really know. But to me, unless he thinks the Wizards won't take him, then he drops to 3, then he's getting the number third pick money. I really don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me because like if the Wizards don't take him at 2, right?
Yep.
And the Wizards been awful. Rockets at 3. They got Şengün as their center, so like they're probably not gonna want to pick Sarr unless they figure out playing them together. And then like the other team is the Hornets, which is like, okay, you have a young team, but the Hawks have also won more than the Hornets. So it's like I don't know what angle he's trying to pull here because to me, the Hawks are the best option, maybe team wise, out of these first couple picks. But he really wants to force himself to a worse situation for worse money. I don't get it.
Yeah, if you want a breakdown of how I feel, my only major takeaway from this, I was already down on Alex Sarr. You've heard me throughout the cycle on this. No, thank you. I'll pass. If I'm a GM in the top 3, 5, even maybe, I'm looking at this guy like, okay, so you're a guy from overseas who's played OTE. By the way, was good in OTE. Was not like the best player in OTE. Was not a dominant guy in overtime lead. And you don't even want to compete to be the number one pick here? Like, what are we doing? And I think this has happened with a few guys, man. Like, Risashe wasn't trying to work out against Buzelis. And Matis Buzelis is like, give me him. I want to show up to his workout and let's go toe to toe and show who we really are. Like, we have players right now in this draft class that want to compete, and then we have players that don't. And the two that seem to not be willing to do this are the two that were mocked 1 and 2 as the highest upside guys. I just am skeptical of all of it. I think it speaks to who this draft class is, but man, it should be a massive red flag to anyone that Sarr is like, no, Atlanta's a bad situation for me. Like, Atlanta is one of the best situations that's picking in the top 5. Do you want to be in Detroit? Do you want to be in Washington? Like, those are disasters right now. So I don't get this one at all. Also, like, do people suddenly hate Atlanta as a city? Is that a new thing?
I didn't understand that. I mean, shit, even given their team, they got Quavo on the sideline. Atlanta games seem pretty hype. Good DJ at the games.
Yeah. This
Uniforms are good. Play with
this,
Trae Young. That makes things easier for you. I really don't understand this.
is that it? What was that last part you just said?
Playing with Trae Young?
Don't people kind of seem anti that?
Why?
I see. I love Trae Young. I'm a Trae Young truther, but like, it seems like there's a lot of people who are kind of like, no thanks on that guy.
I just don't understand. There's a lot more of like no th you want to know who's really no thanks on that guy?
Who?
Johnny Davis. No thanks on Jordan Poole. No thanks on Cotton. No thanks to Corey Kispert. I'm good. Ryan Rollins, I'm good on that. Thank you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This does make the Donovan Clingan to go first overall rumors make a little more sense, right? Like if Atlanta just can't seriously consider taking a guy they haven't met, then that would make sense why they might take Clingan.
I can't shake the feeling though that we're getting played with. This is like a couple years ago when it was the Paulo Jabari thing, and there was a lot of smoke about that, and then
Mm.
it all just came back down to Paulo getting taken. Now there wasn't workout situations with that, but I'm just a little, you know, you go to make a pick on who's the betting favorite. Alex Sarr is still the betting favorite to go number one overall.
What does Shams say? I won't believe a thing until Shams tells me where I should put my hard-earned money in the app that he works for.
Presented by FanDuel, of course, right?
Of course, yeah. What
Okay,
is the Shams? Shams, tell me what's going to happen, Shams, please. Uh,
soon.
okay. Who goes first overall in this draft, Cart?
After all that little spiel I just gave, Donovan Clingan
You're going Clingan. You're buying into the Sarr stuff being real.
until I get my Shams tweet.
Okay. I think you're right. I think you're right, and I feel really weird about it. But I think it's the smart move because straight up, I think Donovan Clingan will be a better pro than Alex Sarr. Do you agree with me on that?
I think Ease will be a better pro than Donovan Clingan.
The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.